forced to confront the issue. It seeks so to dramatize the issue that it can no longer be ignored. We hope the following demonstration will not be ignored, and the lives of the following unarmed people of color will not be forgotten.
I am Michael Brown. At the age of 18 in Ferguson, Missouri, on August 9, 2014, I was shot 6 times by Officer Darren Wilson after a confrontation about walking in the street. After murdering me, Wilson reported that I looked like a demon. Wilson was not indicted by the grand jury.
I am Trayvon Martin. At the age of 17 in Sanford, Florida, on February 26, 2012, I was shot by neighborhood watch captain George Zimmerman. Zimmerman reported me as a suspicious person for walking home. He was told not to get out of his car, but he did, and he ended up shooting and killing me. Zimmerman was acquitted of the crime.
I am Amadou Diallo. At the age of 23 in New York, on February 4th, 1999, 4 plainclothes officers fired a total of 41 shots at me outside of my apartment in the Bronx. 19 hit me. I was armed with a wallet, which an officer took for a gun when I pulled it out of my pocket. Officers initially approached me because I supposedly matched the description of a serial rapist. The officers were acquitted of all charges.
I am Tamira Rice. At the age of 12 in Cleveland, Ohio, on November 22nd, 2014, Officer Tim Loman shot and killed me. I was holding a BB gun and playing at the park. I was shot within seconds of Loman arriving at the park. It was 4 minutes before they administered first aid. When my 14-year-old sister ran over to me, they forced her to the ground, handcuffed her, and put her in the police car next to my dying body while they stood around without checking on me.
I am Shen Walker. At the age of 49 in New York on July 11, 2009, I was shot when trying to eject an undercover officer from my stoop. I was unarmed. There was no indictment for the officer.
I am Oscar Grant. At the age of 22 in Oakland, California on New Year's Day, 2009, after reports of a fight at the BART train station, police detained me and some of my friends. While I was lying face down, a police officer named Johannes Mercel shot me. The officer claimed he meant to taser me.
I am Romaine Braiston. At the age of 35 in Phoenix, Arizona, on December 2nd, 2014, I was shot to death when a police officer mistook my bottle of pills for a gun. I was unarmed and a father of 4.
I am Ayana Jones. At the age of 7 in Detroit, Michigan, on May 16, 2010, I was shot when a special response team raided the duplex I lived in. Officers threw a grenade into my apartment. Officer Joseph Wheatley claimed my grandmother grabbed his gun, causing me to be shot. Wheatley was charged with involuntary manslaughter. However, his first trial ended in a mistrial. So did his second.
I am Erin Campbell. At the age of 25 in Portland, Oregon, on January 29, 2010, I was shot in front of my apartment after being reported to the police as suicidal and possessing a gun. I was unarmed. I was walked backward with my hands behind my head. Officer Forshaw told me to put my hands straight in the air. When I did not comply, Forshaw shot me. Forshaw was not indicted. He was not fired for not following protocol, but then reinstated.
I am Cherise Francis. At the age of 30 in New York on March 15, 2012, as a schizophrenic at the time was not taking my medication, I became increasingly emotionally distraught after an argument with my mother. My sister called 311 hoping for an ambulance. 4 police officers arrived instead who chased me through the home. All 4 pinned me down as they handcuffed me and I stopped breathing soon after. I was pronounced dead at the hospital. The coroner's report concluded I died of compression of trunk during agitated violent behavior.
I am Kimani Gray. At the age of 16 in New York on March 9, 2013, police had pointed a revolver at them as they attempted to question me. Friends and family say I never had a gun, and a witness says I never pointed one at police. The cops shot a total of 11 rounds, striking me several times. There were no indictments for the cops responsible for shooting me.
I'm Travis Carter. At the age of 21 in Jonesboro, Arkansas on July 29, 2012, police said I killed myself while handcuffed in the back of a police car. I was not suicidal and would have had to shoot myself with a weapon that the police didn't find on me when placing me in the back of the police car with my right hand, even though I'm left-handed.
I am Russell Smith. At the age of 51 in Seattle, Washington on March 22nd, 2013, 3 officers fired 21 rounds at me as I tried to flee my car down a dead-end street. I was hit with 8 bullets at close range with my hands raised over my head. None of the officers were charged for the crime.
I am Akai Gurley. At the age of 28 in Brooklyn, New York, on November 20, 2014, I was shot in a dark stairwell of an East New York housing project building by Officer Peter Leon. I was unarmed and just walking down the stairs to leave my girlfriend's house. The officer says he accidentally discharged his gun. He was not supposed to be patrolling inside the building.
I am Reginald Doucet. At the age of 25 in Los Angeles, California on January 14, 2011, police responded to a disturbing the peace call where I was arguing with a taxi driver. I reportedly resisted arrest and chasing so. During a violent confrontation where I was unarmed, I was fatally shot. The Los Angeles Police Commission ruled that Officer Aaron Goff was justified in shooting me.
I am Chantel Davis. At the age of 23 in New York on June 14, 2014, police chased me in a stolen car through East Flatbush until it crashed. In the ensuing struggle at the vehicle, one officer fired 1 shot, killing me. I was unarmed. It's not clear if the plaintiff officer chasing knew the car was stolen.
I am Prince Jones. At the age of 25 in Fairfax County, Virginia, on September 1st, 2000, an undercover narcotics agent followed me. I was unarmed. He fired 16 shots at me while I was in my Jeep. 8 landed. Officials later confirmed that Officer Carlton Jones mistook me for someone else. The Fairfax Commonwealth's attorney and the Justice Department declined to file charges against the officer, Carlton Jones. This case was not put before a grand jury.
I am Sean Bell. At the age of 23 in New York on November 25, 2006, the night before my wedding, me and my friends attempted to flee the scene of escalating tension with the police. The police fired about 50 shots into my car, killing me in the process. All 3 officers were acquitted on all charges.
I am John Crawford III. And at the age of 22, in Beaver Creek, Ohio, August 5, 2014, I was fatally shot while holding a pellet gun in a Walmart. The gun was unsold merchandise and out of its package. A man named Ronald Ritchie told 911 that it looked like I was pointing it at people. But a month later, he admitted that I was not pointing it at people. There was no indictment.
I'm Kendrick McDade. At the age of 19 in Pasadena, California, on March 24, 2012, I was chased and shot by 2 police officers after a 911 caller falsely reported he had been robbed at gunpoint by 2 black men. Both of us were unarmed. I was shot 7 times. The Police Department of Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office cleared the officers of any wrongdoing.
I am Henry Glover. At the age of 31 in New Orleans, Louisiana, on September 2nd, 2005, I was shot in the chest by NOPD officer David Warren at a strip mall in the days following Hurricane Katrina. I, with the help of a friend, attempted to get aid and ended up handcuffed. I died. NOPD officer Greg McRae set fire to my body in my friend's car. David Warren was sentenced to 25 years and 9 months on a manslaughter conviction. Greg McRae got 17 years and 3 months for obstruction of justice. About a year and a half later, the Fifth Circuit Court appealed vacated Warren's convictions and 2 of McRae's, ordering new trials. Warren was acquitted in the retrial.
I am Timothy Sansbury. At the age of 19 in New York on January 24, 2004, Officer Richard S. Mary Jr. testified that he shot me by accident when I pushed open the rooftop door of the building during patrolling. He was not indicted.
I am Deontay Terrell Farah at the age of 12 in West Memphis on July 22nd, 2007. I was walking with my 14-year-old cousin when gunned down by a police officer, Eric Samish. Samish claims that only after he shot me did he realize that the gun I was carrying was a toy. Samish was indicted.
I am Giselle Ford. At the age of 25 in Los Angeles, California, on August 12, 2014, I was shot by police who were conducting an investigative stop. A struggle ensued and the autopsy shows I was shot in the back.
I am Aaron Gardner. At the age 43 in New York, on July 17, 2014, police alleged they saw me selling illegal untaxed cigarettes. A witness at the scene said I was stopped because I broke up a fight. After an argument, Officer Daniel Pantaleo placed me in a chokehold. I died of neck compressions from chokehold along with the compression of my chest, prone positioning during physical restraint by police. The New York City medical examiner ruled my death a homicide. Pantaleo was not indicted.
What you just saw was the Diversity Club participate in nonviolent direct action that is meant to demonstrate some of the tension that people of color live with every day. Although it is often difficult to be in tense situations, we hope that this has created some tension for you. Dr. King referred to the creation of tension as a part of the work of the nonviolent resistor. He said, "This may sound shocking, but I must confess that I am not afraid of the word tension. I have earnestly worked and preached against violent tension, but there is a type of constructive, nonviolent tension that is necessary for growth. Just as Socrates felt that it was necessary to create a tension in the mind so that individuals could rise from the bondage of myths and half-truths to the unfettered realm of creative analysis and objective appraisal, we must see the need of having nonviolent gadflies to create the kind of tension in society that will help men to rise from the dark depths of prejudice and racism to the majestic heights of understanding and brotherhood."
Thank you, Today we have the honor of hearing about the best way to honor Dr. King and his dream of erasing hate, motivational speaker John Gaines. John Push Gaines is the CEO and president of Push. Push is a company that inspires all people to push for their dreams. He earned a football scholarship to East Central University in Oklahoma, where he was the captain of the football team and won a championship. He majored in business administration and he graduated, outstanding graduate in general business. He recently graduated from Liberty University with a master's degree in business management and leadership. He currently works in project management at a Fortune 100 company, and he's a phenomenal communicator that gives motivational and inspirational talks to various audiences regarding his personal story of overcoming adversity and hardships to find hope. We appreciate and thank Mr. John Gaines for coming to our school. It is my pleasure, honor, and privilege to present to you Mr. John Gaines.
Look at that on the low top. Look at that on the low top.
I'm so happy to be here. I was on my way here this morning with my brother. He does a lot of speaking with me. And as we were approaching, I looked at him and said, bro, this is my dream. I'm so excited. He looked at me and said, what do you mean this is your dream? This is what you do. But the reality is, tomorrow is not promised. And this moment is all I have, so I'm going to give it my best. I'm so excited. I was talking to one of my friends yesterday. He plays professional basketball. And the same excitement he feels living his dream is the same excitement I feel right now. I believe when Dr. King said that I have a dream, I believe his dream was to see everyone, each and every one of us, live and achieve our dreams. And I'm happy to say that this is my dream. Thank you so much to the students, the faculty, the Diversity Club for having me. Let's give it up for yourselves. Let's get straight to it. The topic, the subject that I will cover today is you have value. I want you to turn to the person to the right of you and tell them that they have value. Person to the left and tell them that they have value. You have value. You have value.
I got bitches.
I believe each and every one of you have value. You have something on the inside of you that's so important. I need you to hear me. This is important. I believe each and every one of you have value. When I understood this one thing, it absolutely changed my life. I got to this point by understanding love. Understanding love, embracing love. I believe you have to love love with all your heart, soul, and mind. I believe you have to love your neighbor as yourself. And as a society, we have all these issues that we face. Can we agree on that? We have all these issues that we face. And I believe the solution is love. The key part, love your neighbor as yourself. I believe people no longer truly value and love themselves. I believe people don't love themselves, and if you don't love yourself, if you don't understand love, if you never embrace love as more than an idea, if you don't allow love to operate in your life, if you don't allow love to become action, it's hard to love people. Example, if your teachers gave you a test, 100 questions, and they said if you get the first 2 right, it will help you with the bottom 98. If you got the first 2 right, it would help you with the bottom 98. Like I said, I believe we have all these problems. I truly believe from the bottom of my heart, if we understand you have to love love with all your heart, soul, and mind, and you have to love your neighbor as yourself, if we truly embrace that, we can solve a lot of issues. I was able to speak at this community event about a month ago. They wanted to hear from me that there was a lot of tension in America at the time, and they wanted to hear my thoughts on discrimination and different issues. I got to the event, and I remember I stood up there, and I talked about love. I remember some of the people kind of looking at me like, this is not what we wanted to hear. I shared this story. If I could just be honest with you guys, in the early 90s, the Hilltop area where I was born in Tacoma had some of the highest drug and crime rates in America. I remember in the early 90s, it was Thanksgiving Day, and it was the first Thanksgiving I was going to celebrate with my mother. My father was in and out of the picture. It was my sister and I was a toddler at the time, but I have a clear memory. My sister was about 4 years older than me. We were so happy because my mother, she was going to cook Thanksgiving dinner for us, and we were going to celebrate the first one as a family. But you see, my mother had a drug problem. She used drugs. I remember that day someone knocked at the door. These people, I don't remember their color. I don't remember their social status. I don't remember their religious background. But what I do remember, these people knocked on the door and they dropped off Thanksgiving dinner for us. They acted in love. I can tell that those people had a problem with the system and they chose to do something about it. Their problem was, how do we feed people in poverty? And they decided to take action in love. They showed me what it meant to love. I believe love is action. I remember my mother got the food and she began to cook the food. We were so happy, it smelled so good. After about 3 hours, my sister and I were playing games with each other, and we began to smell this burning sensation. The food started to burn. Where's Mom? My mother decided to use drugs that day. She was high upstairs. We woke her up. She rushed downstairs, pulled the burnt turkey out of the oven, pulled the stuff off the stovetop, and made our plates. My mother went back upstairs. My sister and I, as young kids, we sat there and we ate Thanksgiving dinner by ourselves. I was thinking about that story and I thought that day could have ruined my life. But what stood out to me that day was those people who showed me what it meant to love and be loved. And that's what stuck with me. At that moment, I started to feel some type of value about myself. Because I got to see what it meant to love. And so I shared that story at this event. I shared it, and after I got done, there were people that were crying, and I walked off the stage. This man came up to me with tears in his eyes. He said, "Hey, young man, can I talk to you?" "Sure, you can." He said, "I've been in prison for the last 15 years. He said, "I know you." Okay. You know, I thought I was popular. You know, you follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm like, yeah, a lot of people know me, bro. He said, "No, I know you." He said, "Man, I was the guy that sold drugs to your mother." This man began to cry. I stood back and I'm kidding. This man began to cry. I embraced him, gave him a hug, and looked him in the eyes and said, "I forgive you. I love you. I love you." Love has power. It changes situations. I want to share a quick story. It's a fiction story. For all you scholars, it's not true facts, but it's a powerful story. The story is about an eagle. One day, this mother eagle was flying. She had her eggs with her, and she ended up dropping one of her eggs in a chicken coop. She was sad because she lost one of her eggs. She couldn't find the egg, so she flew away. And so this eagle egg was amongst all the chicken eggs, and it ended up hatching amongst the chicken eggs. The farmer who owned this farm, who owned the chicken coop, he was kind of crazy. He raised this eagle like a chicken. He made this eagle do everything the chickens did. So this eagle walked like a chicken. And I'm not sure if chickens talk, but if they do talk just like a chicken, it did every single thing that the chickens did. One day this man was walking by the farm and he noticed that there was an eagle in the chicken coop. And he was like, "Man, this farmer, I knew he was crazy, but this is a little bizarre." He went to the farmer's door and knocked on his door and said, "Mr. Farmer, do you know you have an eagle in the chicken coop?" Farmer's like, "Man, you're the crazy one. Those are all chickens." He's like, "Does it produce eggs? What are you talking about?" He's like, "I promise you those are all chickens." He's like, "No, it's not. Look, I can prove it to you." The farmer was like, "Whatever, man, go ahead." So he went out to the chicken coop. He grabbed the eagle by the neck and said, "If I can just prove to this town and this man, I can prove that this eagle, because eagles are meant to fly, right? It says an adult eagle can spread its wings up to 9 feet. took the eagle to the top of the barn house, threw the eagle off. The eagle fell flat on his face. Sad. Oh. The man came back the next day, did the same exact thing. And the man did this day after day after day. And every single day, this eagle was pretty strong, he didn't die, but it would fall flat on his face. The last day, the man said, I have a new idea. Same routine. I'm on the farmer's door. The farmer was a little crazy. He's like, man, you can't come back. This is your last chance. I don't know if you're stealing my eggs. I don't know what your deal is, but this is it. He said, okay, man, this is it. He went out, grabbed the eagle, moved him to the side. He looked at the eagle in the eyes and said, you have value. He said, you have something great inside of you. I told you it's not a true story, so just bear with me. He said, you have value. So then he took the eagle up to the top of the barn house, threw the eagle off. What happened? The eagle began to fly. The eagle began to fly. One thing changed his life. I believe it was love. This man acted in love. He allowed love to operate his life. And then he shared with this eagle that he had value. This eagle began to fly. I was thinking about this story. I was thinking about what I could share today. And I want to leave you guys with this. I believe each and every one of you have a purpose. I believe we face a ton of issues as America, as a society, in the world. There's a lot of issues we face. But there's also a lot of personal issues that we face on the inside that cause us not to love others. I thought about the story, you know what? Because when I was 12, there was a football coach that looked at me in the eye and said, man, John, you have value. It was the first year I started playing football. He said, I believe in you. And it changed my life. It changed my life. If I could just be honest with you guys. Like I said, in the early 90s, the Hilltop area, Tacoma had some of the highest drug and crime rates in America. When I was in my mother's room for the first 6 months, she used crack cocaine. My father told me, who's one of my best friends now, he said, John, when you were born, the doctor said that you might not make it. He said if you do make it, you will be mentally and or physically disabled. I came out of the womb as an infant, feeling like I was trapped in a chicken coop. My destiny, my path was gearing me towards hatred of everyone. If I could just be honest, when I was 7 years old, after the first Thanksgiving I spent with my mother, 7 years old, as a young boy I remember walking home and I found my mother dead. As a 7-year-old boy, let that sink in. 7. The drugs she used eventually took her life. When I say that this is my dream and this moment means everything to me, as a young boy I couldn't even speak. I could barely speak as a young boy, I could barely read. So when I say that this moment means everything to me, and my mission is to share love and to tell people everywhere that they have value, it means everything. This is all I have. I could not speak, I could not read, and I'm here in this moment because I have a purpose, and I believe each and every one of you have a purpose. Each and every one of you have something on the inside of you that I hope you can just wake it up today after I leave and understand you that look at you and say to yourself that you have value. You have value. This man looked me in the eyes, and it was as if he took me to the top of the barn house and he threw me off of the barn house and I began to fly. Because I went from a young boy that couldn't read. By the time I was a senior in high school, I graduated with 9 varsity letters. I was named Athlete of the Year. I remember as a young boy, I would tell kids that one day I'd get a 4.0. And they used to laugh at me. I went to college, School of Business in Oklahoma. I would get 4.0 after 4.0 after 4.0. So many 4.0s, they made me the top graduate in the School of Business. Because I realized I have value and I allowed love to operate. I remember telling kids one day I'll get my master's degree. They laughed at me, made me cry. But I remember going to tutoring services because I had a dream. Because I had a dream. 3 weeks ago, I graduated with my master's degree in business leadership. Let me take you back to the text that I talked to you in the beginning. We can all agree on this. We face a lot of issues. Discrimination issues, racism, social, economic, religious, gender. We face a lot of issues. Can we all agree on that? I believe we can tackle these issues by focusing on love. You have got to love, embrace it. As if it was a person, you have got to love with all your heart, soul, and mind. And you have got to love your neighbor as yourself. If you're going through something, if you can't look in the mirror and tell yourself that I love me, I'm here today to tell you this one thing. You have value. You have something on the inside of you that's great enough to love. You have greatness inside of you. Don't just talk about the change. Be the change you want to see. As a kid, I had issues with public speakers, and I didn't like what they talked about. So you know what? Even when I couldn't speak, even when I couldn't read, I used to cry myself to sleep, think of the speeches I could share, because I wanted to be a part of the change. And so now I'm walking in my dream. Dr. King said, if you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. I started an organization called Push. He said, but you have to keep moving forward. But I want to change the words. I remind myself every day, you have got to keep pushing forward. Hey, I love all you guys. You have value. Thank you so much.
Singing Where's the Love?
That's gonna be you one day. Got value. You got value. Push. Let me put you on Snapchat.